Hey, it's David McLaughlin. I have something special for you today. The McLaughlin Brothers are putting out our Christmas album, 25-year anniversary. We're releasing it to streaming sites so more people can hear it. But what we did was we got together with all four of us. Our oldest brother, Mark McLaughlin, myself, I'm the middle, David McLaughlin. Our youngest brother is Scott McLaughlin. Then our youngest brother is Jason Owen, and we've given him the last name McLaughlin too. So Jason Owen McLaughlin. We talk for a couple hours about we talk about the Christmas project. We talk about our other recordings. We talk about our history, stories about being on the road. And it was just something we wanted to do to share with you all to help celebrate this 25th anniversary of the Christmas album. So here we go. So people ask me all the time, or at least occasionally, like, are you guys ever getting back together? When are you going to do another concert? Those kinds of stuff. And this is why we don't. We're too far apart. Logistically, people don't even know what it took to get all four of us on this Zoom call. That it took like a month to just for us to all have the same time available on the Zoom call. So that's why we don't do it. Although, towards the end of this little thing, we have some exciting news to share with everybody. But the reason, one of the main reasons we decided to do this um, conversation was because we have a new album coming out. It's
Brand spanking new.
it's an old album, but it's a new album, and a lot of people it was their favorite album we ever did. It's called First Christmas. This year, 2023, is the 25th anniversary of that album, which
Oh,
Blows my
we're
mind.
old. We are old.
Yeah.
That is our
officially.
25th.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow, like when that occurred to me, I could not believe it. So, Jeff Quimby produced that album. We recorded it in Nashville, Tennessee at his place. He produced it, did an incredible job. And so we sent it to Jeff and said, hey, can you remaster this
Well, it's
to
been
bring it sonically up to date? It's not remixed or anything. It's mixed the exact same way, but just if people don't understand what's going on, it doesn't matter. But there's a mastering thing where if it was mastered 25 years ago, it sounds very different than being mastered today. So Jeff upgraded it for us and we've uploaded it. And our first single, I Pray on Christmas, comes out this coming Friday, which is what, the 24th?
Black Friday.
Yeah, Black Friday, the
Yeah.
day after Thanksgiving.
That's right. It's
And
black
then
for a reason, I'm telling you.
the album will come out 1 week later on December 1st for your Christmas enjoyment. So what we're going to do in this thing is we're going to talk a little bit about the Christmas project first, and then we're just going to talk about us as a band and people and whatever. So let's talk about the Christmas album first. What are your initial thoughts? Like when you think about the Christmas album, what do you guys think about?
I lost my voice.
Oh, you did during the recording. You did.
Yes. And um, that one was probably the most stressful because we were not here and didn't hear any of the songs before we got there. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
function like that.
Yeah.
It should be noted that we didn't arrange any of that stuff. Jeff did.
Yeah.
Jeff arranged all of it. We just sent him some songs we liked and kind of got close to the keys on things, and he did a wonderful job arranging all that stuff. That's his brainchild, I guess you'd say. And we recorded all in Nashville with him, and we were out of our element, but it was fun.
Which was different from the way we did all of our other albums, which are here in Oklahoma
Right.
City with all musicians. Del McCoy studio. We'll talk about Dale in a little bit, but we had kind of like a home base, comfort level here. And there, like Mark said, we hadn't even heard the tracks. We just went to Nashville for a week to record vocals, and Jeff worked us out pretty good on that.
It was one of the funnest, I think, but definitely stressful. Knowing also we were in the middle of concerts. We did one, went straight there, and we knew we had to leave. What was that? Saturday morning at till
Yeah.
crack of dawn or something like that. I don't know, but it was stressful on that end, but it was fun. And Jeff was freaking the bomb. Amazing.
Oh, did we argue on that one? I don't remember.
We didn't have time.
Yeah.
It was yes, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. Yes, Jeff.
It probably worked out better because he knew us from way back, and he'd say, "Shut up and do it the way I told you to."
Until Jason has a thought.
Well, no, I was just going to say, I remember that, as leading up to kind of how that album was different from all of our others. I mean, we did have some input on it, because a little bit, to an extent of being able to, we send in songs that we had kind of thought about and what we wanted and everything of that nature. And then, why are you laughing, Scott?
I know where you're going.
Because you know where I'm going. So, but everybody, I think David, if I remember, so we were on the bus and you said, hey, there's 4 of us. We're going to, submit 2 songs each and then we're going to let him pick 2 songs. And so we submitted 2 songs each. I remember the 2 songs that I submitted.
What did you submit?
I submitted the Christmas song and chestnuts roasting, and then White Christmas. And we get there and nothing that I had submitted got tracked or anything like that. So so I was like, okay, great,
Were the feelings hurt?
So I remember as we started going down through it, and I'm sitting there looking at the song list and stuff. I'm like, okay, what song am I going to sing? And he's like, oh, I forgot there's another guy without the last name McLaughlin, that actually, so I was like like most people, in the group, because, and we'll get into that later, I'm sure, in the fact that my, me not really actually having the last name McLaughlin. I was an afterthought on the album. It was like, okay, we'll throw a song to Jason in this regard. So anyway, I was
listening to it this morning, just getting ready for this, and Let It Snow came on, which is the song you sing. It's one of my favorite songs on the album. It's so fun. It's upbeat. The album is very chill.
Very.
There are a few upbeat songs, but Let It Snow is one of them. I was also thinking, you said a minute ago, if you remember, I don't remember. I don't remember us all submitting 2 songs. I don't remember any of that. But
I don't remember that at all.
Jason is our official group historian because he remembers everything. He's got, let's call it a photogenic memory, which we know that's the wrong way to say it.
That's an inside joke.
Yeah. But so I in all of this, we'll all defer to Jason on any details on memory. But I was just going to say, I also really loved doing that song live when we did our Christmas shows. I really loved that song live. I love the recording of everything. So you only got 1, Jason, but you knocked it out of the park, baby.
And
it's definitely fun to me. There's a few songs that I would say on the album are fun. I can think of at least 2 or 3. But I mean, overall, as far as the album is concerned, one of the things that sticks out to me is it's a song. I mean, it's an album to me that still holds, true today. It's an album that it is almost timeless. It doesn't feel old. It doesn't, some of the things about, like say if our other stuff, if you go back and, it can kind of be period. Right. Yeah. But man, those songs still hold up today, on the Christmas album, contemporary wise, very, tracks. I love, the tracks. It's very melodic, very just, I feel like hits the pocket. It's a great album. It's a great album.
Totally agree with that. That a lot of other stuff was very in the period of, when we were recording it, and it sounds more dated today. And I totally agree that Christmas album is endless. Like you put it on today and you cannot tell it was recorded 25 years ago. It sounds like something modern.
Can we talk about the title, First Christmas, and the fact that not only was it first, but we could have called it Last Christmas, because
That's the only one we did.
let's
It
be
was our
honest.
first Christmas album and our last Christmas album.
We could put that on the new album cover, just first and last.
Yeah, we should have put that for the 25th anniversary reissue. And last,
First and last.
and last.
So I'm curious what kind of memories, if anybody has any left, of the process of recording it.
Of that,
Yeah. You mentioned you lost your voice.
yeah, I think one of the things that happened was because we didn't really, like, I'm with you, David. I don't remember selecting any songs or throwing stuff out there. I'm sure we did. I don't know what I really don't even know what I would have put out there. I don't think any of those were it either. Jason, if you recall any song I put out and it made it to the album, please let me know.
I think What a Wonderful Child you picked. I'd forgotten all of this till Jason mentions it, and I still don't remember, but I think you picked What a Wonderful Child.
I remember I wasn't, it kind of feels like Scott's solo album and Jason and Mark got a song on it. And that's not what, that wasn't the plan.
Jeff likes you better than us.
No, I think it was, that's where my stressful level came in, because you guys know me, I have to memorize everything before I do it, and going in and having to learn those. They're Christmas songs. Yeah. You think you know the words and how they go, but when you change an arrangement of something like that and roll something new, it is all different. It doesn't matter what you knew. It's all new. I remember one of the songs, David, you'll remember which one it was, because we talked about it a couple of weeks ago when we saw Jeff. I could not get the beginning intro of the song.
Oh, it was. Hold on.
I just kept. It was probably.
I think it was Silent Night, because Jeff put a weird arrement to. Was it Silent? No, it was Emmanuel Gloria.
Yes. The very first line. And I'm going to give a little.
Give the secret away. Nobody
inside
knows
info. For all these years, everyone thought that was me singing that first line, and it was not. I couldn't even tell you who it was. David knows.
Jonathan, wasn't it Jonathan Noel?
Yes, Jonathan Noel.
I forgot about
fittingly named Noel, being a Christmas album. He laid the scratch vocals down for all of the stuff that we did, I think, or at least on that song. And Jeff and I were in a room, and he was ready to just blow my brains out. I think he was like, Scott, sing this, and he'd play it, and I'd sing it, and I'd go to record it, and I sing something else. And this went on, I'm not kidding, for probably an hour solid. And in the studio, an hour is not a good thing. 10 minutes in the studio not getting something is not a good thing. And he was so patient with me, but I know he wanted to kill me by the time that got done. And then finally he just said, okay, that'll work. And we went on to the rest of the song. And then we get the album, and I think,
that's really good.
I don't.
Yeah,
I nailed it. Man, I sound awesome.
I don't think that's me on that first line. And then here I came on the second line. I was like, that's me. He left the scratch vocal on it. So
That's funny.
to this day, I don't know if I can ever sing that line right.
You started doing it live because once you heard it, you heard the album, and you kind of got it in your brain.
Problem. I just thought it was hilarious. Like, it's not even me. We Milli Vanilli'd that one.
Hey, let's be honest, that's not the first time that we've had to do something like that. I'm going to go off topic of the Christmas album real quick, but it's still our stories. In the fact of in one on Good to Go Back. On if any of our followers or the
We have
McRose
followers.
yeah,
We have
our
followers.
one. I mean, our
parents.
Mom
right?
passed away
Our
2 years,
parents.
Jason.
I mean, this is just to reveal a secret to our parents because they're the only ones,
Yeah.
you know, right? I guess. Anyway, the on Good to Go Back, the same similar thing happened. This was, I mean, the Christmas album was a different recording process for us, right? Because when you had somebody that was out of the pocket, somebody that was in a somewhat in a different genre that was really stretching us, pulling us in a more contemporary vein, if you will. We were sponges, and we were just like, let's go. And but we didn't have as much in studio input because the tracks were already done. The producer already had a vision for what what he wanted us to pull off for the album and things of that nature. And so
You know what I forgot? I forgot to mention to Jason that there's a time limit on his stories because Jason's kind of famous for telling really long stories.
Right.
So
Okay. But when we did Good to Go Back, it was one of our, well, Del Precious McCoy was the producer of that album, and great vocalist, great legend in the industry, as it was. And he was producing it, and in similar fashion on Good to Go Back at the very end, good to go back to old time way.
oh, I know where you're getting at. I forgot.
Hit that. I could not hit that. And I mean, I'm like, in my ears, I'm like, hey, that's right. And they're like, no, not quite right. And I'm like, what? And believe it or not, people, you may not know this, but Del P. McCoy sang my part on that outro of that song, and it stuck. And it's kind of one of those hidden gems that you don't know happens. And so, in similar fashion to Scott's, yeah.
I had totally forgotten about that, but you're right. Dale had
I'm
to
gonna
get
have
in
to
there.
go back and listen to the song. And
Dale finally
honestly,
just gave up on you and said, "I'll do it."
Exactly. He just went in there. He's like, boom, nails it. Okay, let's move on.
I know we're off topic, but since he brought that up, that song I think is my favorite song of all of them that we did. Was Good to Go Back. And I just think it was one of the most difficult live to pull off.
That song in the studio was difficult when we cut the tracks.
Yeah. The
First of all, the arrangement's
of it.
insane. The arrangement's insane. The song was a black gospel song. I can't remember the name of the group, but a lady you used to work with, Scott.
Leah Tipton, sweet little lady that I worked with at Swiss Cleaners when we were starting and everything, brought that song to me. And as soon as I heard it, I thought, well, we got to freaking do this.
Yeah, and you brought it to me, and I was like, "Oh, this song's a banger." I didn't use banger because I don't think we were using the word banger.
That wasn't a term back then.
But we in the studio when we cut the track that day. I'm remembering this now. We did 2 full albums that day. I was engineering for Dale, and
oh, you guys did, not us, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
We did a cutting and just the music tracks for somebody else's project. And we originally booked that session for us, and then Dale booked a session on top of it for someone else too. He's like, well, I got all the musicians here. So we went from doing 10 songs to 20 songs. And they cut the first 10, then they started working on our stuff. And in the afternoon and evening, they were worn out. But most of the stuff was fine. It wasn't a problem until we got to Good to Go Back. And Greg Gray played piano on some of our albums. He was from Branson, and he came in. And when we went back and listened to the track, I realized, because we were just speeding through everything, I realized that the chords were wrong. Like some of the chords were not right. And I told Dale, so what are we going to do? I think, because we can't sing it that way. So we had to bring musicians back in, and I think we had David Uten then, and David recut the piano, and then Dave McCurley had to recut the bass, and Terry recut the guitars. And so, because the drum tracks were fine, but we just had to recut everything else. And so
The
that
drums
song
were in
was,
tune.
and then I mean, so that song was just pieced together, unlike everything else we had done. And then when I got to the vocals, it was challenging too. That was a challenging song to do.
Yeah.
But it rocked. It was a great
I
song.
loved it. I think everything about that song I like it, and especially the reprise. Oh my gosh. It was fun for me. That was one of my fun, exciting songs to sing.
Sorry.
Any final thoughts from anybody on the Christmas album? Any memories? Any thoughts going on?
Oh,
there?
and I mean, as far as memories are concerned, good grief. I mean, again, how far into the woods do you want to go on this thing, right? I mean, seriously, I mean, we can talk about the hospital trips that happened during it. We could talk about, you
I don't
know,
remember that.
I don't.
Jeff's
we can
wife
talk-
cut
we
herself, had to go to the hospital.
yeah,
Who
we
did?
can talk
Jeff's
talk
wife.
about how we
Oh.
were professional by the end of the recording everything. We can talk about how we were professional car racers, apparently, because of the video games that we would play while other people were in the actual booth that were cutting vocals and stuff. We're all
Funny
on
because
video
I
games. You
Play
know,
any video games. I
you
don't know.
remember playing
Because you were
this? Oh my
because you
God.
sang everything. You were always the one we
You're
were
up there
waiting.
singing the
Yeah,
whole
yeah. Exactly, Mark.
I didn't play
Exactly.
one
He's like,
game
"Remember
that
video
whole
games?"
I remember-
freaking week.
I remember playing a lot of video games and waiting on Scott.
So really, what we're saying is, ladies and gentlemen, Scott has a new album coming out. It's totally remastered. It'll be in. I have a couple cameos with Jason and Mark come on and sing this song with me.
Help him out.
It's a great album. You really ought to go get it.
It was
I
an
have
honor to work on Scott's project this year. It
Yeah.
was really great. My friend Jason and I,
Thanks for
there
putting all
together.
this together, Dave. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
we
I had a
on.
line. I had a line on I Pray on Christmas. I go,
He let Dave sing on it.
And I brought David in for a special line on the song. It's a
really- you
keeper,
had more
folks.
than
You really
that.
ought to go get this. Run,
Scott
don't
is a
walk.
great entertainer. He's a great man, and he always remembers the little guys, and we appreciate him a lot.
You know, I'm glad I could bring you guys along with me on this road. It's been fun.
Mark did Oh Holy Night in this, which Oh Holy Night is Let It Snow is my favorite Christmas song. Oh Holy Night's my second favorite Christmas song. Mark did a great job on Oh Holy Night on that.
Can I be honest?
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that album. I think maybe since we got it back, and because we did it a lot, you know, and I had completely forgotten that song was even on that album until
Oh Holy Night.
and yeah, I really, I guess I am older than you guys, but I remember being at Jeff's house. I remember the video games, and that's really about all I remember that song. And yeah, I tried to listen to it a lot when we first got it back, but I would go to sleep. It's just one of those relaxing albums. I'd be out in the corner. So yeah, I didn't put it on my playlist.
Yeah, it's not a go get 'em Christmas album.
No, it was
We-
way
is so
different than anything
chill.
we did.
We were known on all of our other projects of bam, 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 oh,
Yeah.
bam, doing job. And this album is not that at all.
No.
It's classy and elegant and
Yeah,
chill.
no,
Unlike us.
Nothing like it.
My favorite song on the project, to me, and it's a song that literally features us all. Because I say it features us all because nobody is actually featured. It's
What child?
What Child Is This?
Yeah.
Cranks out. It's the first song on the album. The way that it to me, as far as Christmas songs go, I love it. It's got the jingle bells in there, but at the same time, that's kind of like your bed track on that. But at the same time, it has that. If any of our viewers, listeners, whatever, are 80s music fans, and you can make this recollection. It's our in the air tonight moment, right? Because the drums kick in the middle of that track and it carries it to the end of the song. I love that. I love it. Jeff does an absolutely amazing job on that track, and to me, it just sets the mood for the whole album. It's such a great song. And it was man, it was just a totally different recording process for us. It really was. I mean, giving up, not having any of that control, giving up that control. Stop, Dave. I'm just going to sit here and listen to Jason talk. But giving up control of a lot of that, and to see how, because let's be honest, we did a lot of, like I said, we had so much input on our other stuff that we were very intimate with it. Giving up control because we had written a bunch of the songs, as far as that was concerned, of our normal stuff. And this was stuff that everybody knew, right? Pretty much. This is an album of all covers, right? Which we did a lot of our own original stuff too, which was great. But on all of our normal projects, but Christmas standards and things of that nature. So it's something that everybody knows. So seeing the recording process, obviously in Nashville, how does somebody else do this, right? And so seeing some of the magic that Jeff was able to pull out, he's like, different mics and things of that nature that he would throw in the mix to get a different sound. I just remember this one. He had I call it a bullet mic. I don't necessarily know if that's the official term for it or not, but
bullet mic.
And the effects that he put on it, he's like, that's my secret weapon. That's my secret weapon. And we're like, what? And so some of those, knowing that you're able to accomplish some of those, recording tricks and things like that, it was really eye-opening. It kind of, you're like, wow, that's awesome. That that we're exposed to those types of things. And it just felt like it takes it. I feel like this album, to an extent, took us to a different level. Stop it. Oh my gosh, Dave, whatever.
I agree with everything you're saying. Yeah.
I loaded a bell tone on my phone and I'm ringing it, but it's not picking up on the mic.
Zoom shuts off background noises. You're right, Jason. That's all good. That's all good. All right.
Okay.
It was good.
I had one last thought. One last thing I wanted to say about the Christmas project is just Jeff Quimby in general. How we got to know Jeff, how we got involved with Jeff. It started with Mark. Mark went to Tulsa when he was a mere child.
Mere
Was
child.
singing tenor for the Royal Airs, and Jeff became their drummer at some point. And so Mark and Jeff met first, and then the Royal Airs needed a bass player, and I went up and joined the group, and so that's when I met Jeff. I was 17.
Yeah, talk about babies. You were more babies than I was.
Yeah.
On that day.
You were 20. I was almost 18.
Yeah.
But and then Mark and I had an apartment up there, and because the other guys in the Royal Airs were older, and me, Mark, and Jeff were around the same age, and so we hung out together a lot, and that's kind of how it got started. And then Jeff and I played in Eternity, and Mark was in that for a while too. Mark and Kelly were both in that group for a while, and then so we just did a lot of music together. We did another little side project, one show called The Touch. That was fun. And then through the years,
One show was all it took.
And then we have just, Jeff was best man in my wedding, and we've always been great friends all these years. And so that's how we got involved with Jeff. Of course, Jeff went on to an amazing music career. in Nashville playing for national touring artists, recording music. He was an A&R guy at a label
Did,
for a
didn't he
while.
didn't he work for Margaret Becker for a bit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for a long time.
Long
Yeah,
time.
he was with her for a while, and but Jeff just has just, and he is one of the most talented humans on the planet, and just love him as a person too. He's just been a
And
great friend.
kind, gracious, humble. He's just, man, getting to see him a couple weeks ago at his father's funeral. I mean, and you guys were with him much more than I ever was, other than that 1 hour in the studio trying to hit that one line. But I just instantly remembered how gracious and kind he was. He's just a sweet guy, man.
Yeah, and a pro all the way, and just a magical. The guy is amazing. So anyway, I just wanted to give a little special word out to Jeff. Okay, so the Christmas album, first single comes out Black Friday, and then the album comes out December 1st. And we're excited for everybody to hear it, because a lot of people used to have it, may have had it on cassette or CD or whatever, and then they've lost them over the years. Or I think Jason has a friend who sold theirs in a garage sale. So I remember he was offended about that.
I'm glad somebody
But,
made some money on that project.
Great line. Great line. Zing.
He was the only one. He's the
Yeah.
only one who made money on the project.
Good one.
Yeah.
So, we what was I going to say? It's nice. It'll be out on streaming services and everything, so now everybody can hear it.
You
I
know
will
what's
say
funny
this.
is,
Go ahead.
well, Jason's talked a lot, so I'll go ahead and talk a little
Okay.
bit. I'm just kidding. No, one thing that I found interesting the last year was, this is just side note to this stuff. A lot of people don't know we even did this in our past, in
It
our
was
history.
25 years ago.
25 years ago, and it was like it just stopped and went away. And then we all started new lives and started doing different things. And so I did some stuff at the Opry this last year. I've always done 1 or 2 shows at the Opry each year, just going in, hitting stuff.
Scott, for those listening nationally, he means the Oklahoma Opry, not the Grand Ole. So
Well, you can call it what you want. To me, it's the Grand Ole Opry.
it's a wonderful.
I'm teasing. It's
great.
fantastic. But it was funny because we posted something of that one time, and some people that I met after we stopped touring and stuff goes, I had no idea you could sing. What is going on? And I was like, yeah. And they said, so are you going to start doing this?
No, I'm not.
No.
Like one of the lines we use all the time is, I'm trying to end a career, not start one.
I'm ending a career, not starting one right now. So I just think that's funny. And a lot of people have no clue. I mean, if we post this or whatever, friends that we have now still, we don't talk about our music all that much anymore. And so they're going to catch us. Oh, did an album? Well, we did. What?
We did
12? Something. I don't have them all. I don't even have them all. But
Jason sent a list. Okay. So we're going to shift into talking about our history. So here's the albums we did. We did 3 albums of hymns and classics. Now, this is when it was me, Scott, Mark, and Mark's wife, Kelly, playing piano and singing, she's an amazing talent. We did hymns and classics, volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. So that's 3 albums. Then when Jason joined us, we picked kind of our favorite songs off of those and re-recorded it and just sold that as hymns and classics. And it was the 4 guys. Then we did.
There he is.
Oh, Lord, that's scary.
It looked like it was 30 years ago.
And I don't have the one. I couldn't find the ones with Kelly. I know we've got them somewhere, or somebody has them. But
that was the hymns and classics re-recorded versions with Jason. And then we did Good to Go Back, the album we've talked about. And then we did Sing for You live. We did a live album, and Mark wrote the song Sing for You, which is an amazing song. Sing for You live. That was recorded, I think it was like 3,000 people there, 2,500, 3,000, whatever. It was sold out at the Yukon High School auditorium.
It was a sold out house.
It was sold out house. Sold out house.
Then we did Read That Book, and then First Christmas. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 projects. That's Read That Book.
Yep.
Was that the cover?
That's our Gideon album.
That
It
was the
looked like
cover.
Yeah.
it looked
forgot
like a
that.
Bible cover. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
All the
it was our
songs-
Gideon New Testament.
Yeah,
Wow.
all of the songs were like Bible stories.
It was a theme project.
Yeah, it was. It was a
themed
theme
album.
project. Yeah. So those are the projects. Well, let's talk about how we got started. And so I'll tell you how I tell the story, and then you guys correct me where I'm wrong.
We all have our own
Um,
version.
Our Uncle Ross,
Yeah.
great Uncle Ross, passed away, and he was a minister. And the family had asked us if we would sing at the service. And what I think is important about this is me, Mark, and Scott had played together. Scott played drums, I played bass, Mark sang. We'd done several iterations of that. Dad had all these quartets through the years, and we'd play together and do this stuff like that. But then we all kind of went our separate ways and did our own thing. We had never sang together.
No.
Never. All three of us singing. I that was the first time I really sang in public, I think, was at that service. But we got together the night before with Kelly. Kelly played piano. I could not tell you what songs we sang, but we did 2 or 3 hymns. Scott looked
Did
like
we
he
do
remembered.
Ain't No Grave?
That
I
was
don't think so.
Grandpa's funeral. That was later on.
Okay.
Yeah, we had recorded that one, and Grandpa loved that song, so we did that at Grandpa's funeral. But
I don't remember what we did.
I don't remember. Like we may have done Amazing Grace and 1 or 2 others. I don't remember. But because Uncle Ross was a pastor, there were tons of pastors in the audience. And so we sang the songs. That's it. Service is over. We all go home. And then I started getting phone calls from different pastors saying, "Hey, would you guys come sing at our church?" And I was like, "Nope, we don't do that."
We did all
Not
3
what we do.
songs we knew at the funeral. That's it.
All you
And
get.
then it was like a month later, we all got together for something, Thanksgiving, who knows what. And I mentioned, "Hey, I've been getting phone calls from people wanting us to come sing." I think you two were both, "Yeah, I've had some phone calls too." And so then we got thinking, well, maybe there's something there. And so we thought, if we do this, we should do it real low scale where it's just piano and vocals like the old school. Scott, I see the Statesman back there. Grab that Statesman album from your top row. Because we always loved like the Statesman and the Blackwood Brothers and all that kind of stuff. And so we just wanted to get those old songs from those old quartets out, drag them out, redo them the way they did them with just piano. And so that's what we did. That's when they were a little older there.
Yeah.
That first album you put up is their old
That
live
was-
album. I think it's from 1956 or something. That's my favorite Statesman album. They slay on that project.
And that was the vibe. They did things with just piano and vocals rhythmically that people had forgotten how to do. And
Yeah.
and we didn't know how to do till we started messing around with it. But
Yeah.
there's a sound and a vibe to that is identifiable to anything else. And
Yeah.
to be able to really do that and do it well is an art form, I think.
And this was, I think Jason had the years on these projects.
Jason's just bored
We
hearing about
started
the
in 1994. So this is the 25th anniversary of the Christmas album. It's our 29th anniversary of when we started the group. So we started traveling and singing and going around to churches, mainly around Oklahoma and stuff, people we knew. And then people liked us, thankfully. And so we just started getting more calls and more calls. Then we go to Texas, and then we go to Kansas, and then we go to Missouri, and it just starts getting a little bigger. And I can't remember exactly what time in there Mark Tatum started booking us, but Mark had booked Eternity, and he was interested in booking us like nationally. And I think that's around the time when Kelly was like, "I don't want to do that." And that's when we thought, well, let's go with a male quartet sound. And we'll talk more in a minute about how we got Jason in the group. But is that all accurate? That's what I tell. I don't know if that's accurate.
I think that's pretty accurate. I had even forgotten some of those little details, but yeah, it was just kind of a weird one-off thing that we tried to do to help our relatives on that funeral. So we were birthed from a funeral. That's kind of hilarious. But our sound, our vibe or mojo if it were like we were talking a while ago, putting our normal things against the Christmas album. When I said I go to sleep, is because it's our style of performing and our style of music was a very upbeat and very
High
fun.
energy. Yeah.
I
High energy
remember.
and fun.
Yeah, I remember. We would go do shows with other groups and things, and we might not have been nearly as good vocally as some of those people we worked with were, but we could stand toe to toe and entertain with them. And people, I think most of, in my opinion, most of our following came because people just enjoyed the energy and the fun that they could have in a church setting or an outdoor setting. It was good, clean fun, and I remember just we spent a lot of time trying to refine how to do things that were upbeat, fast, and but at the same time cool. So we had a kind of rhythm and blues, old gospel harmony thing going, and then we got some of the best musicians in the world that helped us along the way in Oklahoma City, and it was I was proud of the work we did back then because it was just different than what anybody else is doing, especially in this gospel world.
Yeah. It
We
was
brought back,
very,
we
yeah.
brought back some things that had been lost and forgotten, and the old guys the legends that we were fortunate enough to work with later were very excited and proud of what we were doing. And we didn't know what the heck we were doing, but
Yeah, I think they were very appreciative that
yeah,
people respected what they
we
had done.
tried to bring back their vibe or their essence of what they did and make it our own, but nobody was doing that back then. I'm done.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm done.
So, so one thing I want to talk about is we, people I mentioned earlier that people ask like, "Hey, are you guys going to do anything again?" One of the things that is important to me is if we were to ever do anything, one, just getting four of us together is hard, but also I would only want to do things in the future with a live band, and
Yeah.
that gets expensive, and so people don't understand that. But we did tracks with piano. We pretty much always had a piano player. First it was Kelly, and then when we got Jason, I want to talk about the keyboard players. We had Newman Miller, who
Newman Miller.
that guy had played with a pretty famous group, the Plainsman Quartet, for years. I think he helped start them, if I remember right, but I could be wrong on that. Newman's passed away now, but Newman, I think, was our first one. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then we had
Well, it was Kelly then.
Kelly, then Newman.
Kelly,
Newman,
then
yeah.
Newman, and then was it
David
Dave
Eaton.
Wooten
Dave
and then
Wooten,
Mike
yeah.
Price, or was it Mike Price then Dave Wooten?
No.
And then-
Mike was after David Eaton, I think.
Okay, so David Wooten came along.
Was he? Hold on a minute.
No, it was Mike Price.
It was
Price
Mike
first,
and then
Price
David.
first.
then David. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Mike and then David.
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
defer to
pretty sure.
Jason because I don't remember. I
Yeah,
thought it
the
was
same way. Yeah. But all of those people were very important to us and what they brought to the
Oh,
group,
gosh,
and helped us so much. And then there were a few shows we did where we took out a whole band. We didn't do a whole lot of those, but we did a few shows where we took out a whole band. I remember particularly going to like Louisiana and all that with Steve Short and Dave McCurley on bass, Steve Short on drums, Dave McCurley on bass, and
Did Terry go?
Strawberry.
on that? I think.
I feel like Scarberry came along. Terry
Scarberry
Scarberry
did.
came on that trip.
Yeah.
Who's just one of the most amazing guitar players on the planet. But those guys were also our studio guys. Those are the guys that we used in the studio. Short on drums most of the time. Trent Austin did some drum stuff.
Yeah.
Dave McCurley did bass. I think Richard Sharp did some bass on a few things. But and then Greg Gray did a lot of keyboard piano. We never did anything live with Greg. And then it was Mike Price and David Newton. Those guys were our
Those two were the longest, aside from obviously the Kelly being the starter, the founding member.
Founding member. She's around here somewhere, guys, but she's out and about.
I just thought of an interesting story. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but one thing we did when we started, first off, when Kelly was playing with us, we had to rent a keyboard. Yamaha, I think it was a Yamaha keyboard, and it wasn't just the keyboard top. It was the top with the mounted legs to
Yeah.
it, and we had to disassemble that thing every show to move it.
Yeah.
Right.
We rented it from, I'm not going to say the place. Oh, it's 25 years. Statute of limitations is probably done by now. So we rented it from Larson's Music here in Oklahoma City, and they were fantastic to us. They really were. But I even told the guy, hey, we have to take this apart. When we rented it, I don't know how much, a month or whatever. And he's like, don't tell me that, and just bring it back in one piece. Okay. And we rented that thing for, I don't know however long Kelly was with us.
At least a year. I mean, it would have been at least a year.
And every show we put it together, took it down, put it together, took it down. And
I don't remember that at all.
I forgot all about that until just now.
Well, actually, Kelly was with you guys. I mean, even with me for a time.
Yeah.
She kept playing piano for a while.
Because she played piano, and there was things. So, I mean, I just remember. I mean, she was integral in, for me, because she really helped me, in sliding into a part. She really helped me musically. I mean, oh my goodness, she is a fantastic vocalist in her own right. I mean,
she blows all of us away.
I tell you, what was so crazy about it. A quick story about when Scott got married. She sang at their wedding, and I just remember one of the songs that she was supposed to sing was a Celine Dion song. I'm like, well, she's going to kill that, because she reminded me a lot vocally of Celine Dion, which I think is like atmospheric, just phenomenal singer. And so I put Kelly in that class too. She's just an amazing vocalist.
She is.
Absolutely.
And when you came on, Jason, we had to change arrangement, not necessarily arrangements, but parts, because she was singing, Mark and her were singing in the rafters, and then you came in with the baritone. So they were the same parts, but we were just having to shift things around a little bit.
It created obviously more of a
great at figuring
dominant
that
sound,
out.
right? As far as that's concerned, it's created more of a dominant sound, a more rich sound.
Male quartet.
I mean, she was such a staple, to getting you started. I mean, it was, my goodness, like I said, the talent, I couldn't believe to an extent that she was stepping away. I mean, I was privileged to follow in her footsteps, but man, she was awesome.
You were never in her footsteps, Jason. You had your own path. You created your own path.
Yeah,
You made his own.
I physically have bigger shoes, but
That's true.
Your feet are much bigger than hers
He had to make his own mark.
and smellier.
Yeah. I want to say about Kelly, two songs in particular. I think we pretty much stopped doing one of them when Jason came on, but Until You Find the Lord was one of my all-time favorite Statesman songs.
Yes.
And she plays on the beginning of that. She kind of has the opening, the slow bluesy opening, and then Scott takes over when it kicks into time. But I think we pretty much stopped doing that song, which was sad because that was one of my favorite tunes from the Statesman.
We couldn't pull it off. We couldn't pull it off without her.
No, we couldn't. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then His Hand in Mine was one that we did with Kelly, and we did it a lot, and it sounded so great. And we may have tried it a few times, but I don't think we did it a whole lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick side note on Until You Find the Lord. Hold on a second. I did record it. Okay. So on my solo album,
Here we go.
we re-recorded.
Oh my gosh.
And I'll say this quick and then get off. So we were in the studio and we re-recorded Until You Find the Lord on there, with me doing the deal. Doesn't sound nearly.
I remember that.
Hold on. The only reason I remember it is because of this story. So, Traveling Buddy, we can talk about him a little later, but we were in the studio recording that, and I flipped into, because I couldn't do the intro like Kelly did. She was just amazing. I just sang it and everything. But Traveling Buddy showed up in the studio that day, and somewhere, I don't have it, but somewhere on an ADAT is Traveling Buddy singing with all of his might and heart Everyone wants.
Hold, hold. Let's introduce
that.
everybody. Traveling buddy Scott, can you go get him? Leave
Hold
and
on,
go
just
get
I thought he
Traveling.
died.
Hold on.
I thought he died.
Jason's been trying to kill him for years. You can't
Oh
kill
my
him.
gosh.
Scott went to get Traveling buddy. There he is.
How y'all doing?
So now
I really can't do traveling
So,
buddy.
so hold on. So you got to understand, we were together, I think, almost 5 years or 5 years. Yeah. So the last 2 years, especially, we were worn out. If you've ever worked a job for 5 years and not got one paycheck and worked night and day, 7 days a week,
Almost choked when you said that.
never, it's the truth. With my hand to God, as Dale would say. We never got paid. We paid everybody else. We
Right.
operated, but we never in the history of the McLaughlin brothers, I never got a check, and I know y'all didn't either. We never
people
got
were like, why did y'all quit?
because we were broke.
I like to eat. I like to eat food.
That's right. Our wives were working 2 jobs apiece, sometimes 3, to support our butts on the road, trying to become whatever that was we were trying to become. But we were just about to stop, like 3 years in, and this guy Traveling buddy showed up, and then it just became delirium and hilarity, and
Okay.
I enjoyed it for a couple of
Let's
years.
sidetrack for a second because we brought it up. I didn't mean to bring it up like that, but so Traveling Buddy showed up on Until You Find the Lord. There is a full version of me singing that in true Traveling Buddy prime voice, and I would love to have it. It was, I started just joking, and then y'all just kept saying, keep going. I think David was going, keep going, do the whole song, so we did it, and then I went back and actually recorded the song.
You saved us.
But Traveling Buddy made his very first appearance
I
in
was
Henrietta at the Henrietta High School Auditorium. Is that
Nope.
Is that when we did it?
okay, Jason?
Thank
Where
you.
did Traveling Buddy
Nope.
make his first
Where was it,
appearance?
Jay?
Nope. Traveling buddy. Well,
Stage. On
Okay,
stage.
okay,
He showed
okay,
up in the
okay.
van somewhere.
I know exactly where he showed up.
Where?
I know exactly where he showed up and how he got his name.
Can you
Okay,
tell
go
it
ahead.
in under 30 minutes?
Okay. Yes. So we were on the road, and we were actually at the overpass McDonald's in
Veneta?
Miami on
Veneta,
the
Oklahoma.
yeah, Veneta, yeah, the overpass McDonald's. We had stopped there, and we were all on one side. I think we were probably eating and getting gas, right? And
I had gas the whole time we were touring. I don't know about you guys, but road
we can
food-
attest. We can attest because we started out in a small van, right? And which is another story about windshields and things of that nature. But we started Traveling Buddy was birthed in the traveling center on one side of the interstate there. And you came up with this voice, and because where we were at a traveling center, and we were in Veneta, Oklahoma.
We were traveling from
we
one place to another.
aptly named him, hey, he's traveling.
Okay,
buddy.
so he showed up at the first concert was Henrietta High School Auditorium. Am I correct on that? It was right after we came back from Michigan.
I'll say this: I tried to forget him the moment he was born, so I don't.
Okay. Well, let me tell this quick story, and then I'll defer. So, what I recall, we had just come back from the horrendous trip we had in Michigan. This may have been right after the Christmas album. I don't know, but
No, you were around long before the Christmas
Yeah.
album.
okay.
Traveling Buddy was around a long
we
time.
did a trip to Michigan, and we stayed at this hotel that we couldn't find forever.
That I remember.
Okay. And there's a lot of stories to that for another podcast. But we come back from this, and that trip was disastrous yet funny. And it was just, we talked about it the whole way back. So we're on stage. We get back to Oklahoma. We do this show at Henrietta High School Auditorium, and Traveling Buddy never showed up on stage ever. Traveling Buddy said very inappropriate things in the van and different things at a certain time. But so we get on stage and David starts talking about this trip, how much he liked the folks in Oklahoma and everything, because they just treated us well or whatever. And so he said, for instance, we went to Michigan, whatever, and we were looking for this hotel or something. And he's telling this story about how bad it was to find it. And then
let me just drop in real quick. I don't want to take a long time on telling what happened, but what happened was whoever booked us had booked our hotel and gave us the hotel information. And I can't remember which brand was which, but like it was supposed to be like a Marriott or whatever.
No, it was a Holiday.
Holiday Inn. Okay.
It's supposed to be a Holiday Inn.
And so I'm at the address.
You go ahead. Let's see if we can reenact this. You might.
For GPS, we had to enter stuff and then print out
MapQuest.
paper and
MapQuest.
and carry around with this. So I'm at the address. There's no Holiday Inn or whatever it's supposed to be there. And I call them and they're like, well, I'm telling them I'm at this intersection. They're like, yeah, it's right there. It's right there. And so what hotel was it actually, Jason? It wasn't Holiday Inn. It was
the Crown
Plaza or something.
Yeah,
like
the Crown
that.
Plaza.
But
I mean,
And
the
so
way
I
that
said-
you would set it up, though,
So
is so funny.
I said, all I see is a Crown Plaza, and they're like, "Yeah, that's us." I'm like,
No. But the way that you used to do it, it was great because with the way that you would set it up, because you're like, you didn't always saw was this one hotel there. So you walked into the hotel, it says Crown Plaza on the sign. You walk, I mean, before you walk in, you see the Crown Plaza sign out in the parking lot. You walk through the doors. There's the Crown Plaza rug on the floor. You know,
okay.
design.
So you said that, but in the show you say, and
hold on, let him finish what actually. Hold on,
Yeah.
let him finish what
You
actually
said
happened.
you said it was the Crown Plaza on the map. You know, you walk up to the front desk and it has Crown Plaza on the desk. You're like, excuse me, I'm having a hard time finding this address as it's supposed to be a Holiday Inn. I mean, could you tell us where the Holiday Inn is? And they're like, you're there. And you're like, huh?
Everything's
They're like, oh yeah, no, you're there. Oh, we're glad I made it.
Yeah.
so
So I'm telling this story in Henrietta, and Traveling Buddy shows up.
okay, so David's setting it up and he goes, and we're standing there and we get to this place and they say, well, come in. So hangs up the phone, he goes in and he walks up. Everything says Crown Plaza on the sign. You walk up and there's a floor mat in the deal. And guess what it says? Traveling Buddy's first words were this: welcome. Yeah, welcome. And David turned around and looked at me because I said it in Traveling Buddy's voice. And I'm not doing Traveling Buddy at all good right now. Trust me, I've forgotten how to do him. But David looks at me and everybody just roared laughing. It was funny. You had to be there. And he just kind of looked at me and kind of chuckled and okay, one for Scott. And and so then he goes on and starts telling the rest of this story. And he would lead things up with, and guess what that said? And Traveling Buddy would show up and answer again. And it would be a very common answer, but it was just made this, and no, it said Crown Plaza or whatever. And so we just kept going. Well, after about the fourth time of this, David, the crowd's roaring on something, and David turns around and says, you can keep going, but the first time this bombs, you shut your mouth. And I'm like, okay.
And he went off.
From that point on,
That was off mic.
that was off my,
Right.
yeah, it was.
Right.
It was. But he was like, keep going, but the first time you bomb, shut up. Like, okay.
He never bombed for the next
Traveling
2 years.
Buddy
Never
lived
bombed.
on.
He even made appearances on albums.
Yeah,
What?
He
I
did
would've-
make,
What?
yeah.
I would have
Yeah,
went
he
to our
showed up
shows just
many,
to
many
see
places. Traveling Buddy. Traveling Buddy is so much more funny than I ever thought I could
That's
be
true.
or ever will be.
That is true.
Does anybody remember which song it is that Traveling Buddy says something in the song?
On it's on the New Testament, the Gideon Bible.
Read that book.
Yeah, it's on that Read That Book.
Oh, he says, I remember what he says now. He goes, "That's better than an old fashioned camp meeting."
Well, he says that, yeah.
Better than old fashioned camp meeting.
There it
Yeah.
is. There
Um,
it is.
what song was that?
I don't know.
it's
I'd
fun.
have to see the set list.
I got
but-
Read That Book. I've got it. Shadrach, Josh Fit the Battle. He came through.
It doesn't matter.
Was it he came
it's-
through?
It
I don't
don't
think so.
matter.
He
It
made
might
it.
be he came through, but
Anyway,
it's
and-
Then in the break of he came through before we go into the acapella part. I don't
I
remember.
think so. And then also in he was a preaching man. Wasn't he
Yeah,
talking
turn
about
to
burning
Ezekiel, please.
and going in hell or something like that? You hear him going screaming like he died or something.
it
Where
was
that
good
line, better than an old fashioned camp meeting, came from is
Rick Stanbrook.
we used to go to. Rick Stanbrook played drums, and if there's ever a song that he really enjoyed at the end of it, he'd always
He
go,
came
"That's
through.
an old fashioned camp meeting."
I forgot
Yeah.
about that.
It is
Rick
on He Came Through
Stanbrook.
because he says it right before we do the reprise with the
Yeah.
claps. But it's just us with the claps. Yeah.
There's
Let's talk
Chad,
about,
my buddy.
we are about halfway through this, so I'll probably be dividing this up into a couple listenable segments. So this may be where we break.